being a personal trainer is a very, very good job. It's definitely something that I recommend that most people do. But the reality is that there are a lot of pros and cons to being one. And I want to talk to you about some of those pros and cons. So let's get straight into it. So let's talk about some of the pros. I like to start off on a positive note. The very first thing is that, look, working in the gym can be very flexible. I'm going to talk about this in a second, but it really depends how you do it and what you decide to do. I was a personal trainer for 2 years, and at some points it didn't feel that flexible. But actually, when you think about it in terms of your day-to-day, you're not working like a 9-to-5 job. So there is a good level of flexibility in what you do. With that being said, you also get to work with clients in person, which if you become an online coach, there's an element where you do miss that, okay, I get to work with you. You literally need to do this here. I can fix any training issues you have right here for you. I'm going to talk to you about the pros and cons of this in a second. But again, you get to work with people in person. You can fix technical issues, stuff like that in real time, which is good. It's a pro. The good thing as well about being a PT is that it's a good rate per hour. Depends on what gym you work for, how your business is set up, etc., etc. But it can be a very, very lucrative job if you're in the right gym and you know your worth as a trainer, because that does play a big role. Another thing that I found to be a good pro is I don't have to wear like a uniform. I ain't got to wear a suit and tie. I ain't got to dress up. I just wear the gym uniform or my own gym uniform. It's flexible. I can wear comfortable clothing. That is, for me, a big pro because I hate wearing uniforms. The next thing is that you get to do what you love. It's a passion. Most of us anyway. We love working out. We love being in the gym. It's a natural step forward in your progression as a coach, I guess. So my advice on that is, when you do what you love, it's more enjoyable for me anyway. And I love health and fitness. I like to work out. I like to train. So doing that every day is something, it's good. It's good. The next thing is you are building a coaching business based on your passion. And that kind of ties into the last bit, is because you do what you love. I will talk about why this becomes a problem in the future. But yes, you build a business based on a passion, which is something you enjoy, something you love, which is obviously very important. Alongside working with clients in person, you do get to fix technique hands-on, and you get to pick who you work with to a certain degree. And I think if you work a corporate level job, or, you work a 9-to-5, you don't get to pick your clients all the time. You don't always get to pick who you sell to. It's not always in your control. But actually, as a PT, especially if you're a good PT and your business is set up in the right way, you get to decide who you work with, how much you work with them, what they do, etc., etc. Like, you are the boss, which is a wonderful position to be in. But we know that as a PT, there are some limitations and some caveats to everything I've just listed. So let's get straight into the cons, which is actually your working hours can sometimes be very, very shit. You're either up early in the morning before people are doing the school run because you got to take in clients, or maybe you open the gym at like 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. In my case, it was 5 a.m. and I hated it. Or you do split shifts where you open the gym in the morning, you might go home for a little bit, come back at lunchtime for a few clients. Then you got that dead space in between like 1 to 4 o'clock. Then you got to come back to the gym and do evening shifts, and you're coaching until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. The hours in the gym can sometimes get ridiculous. And sometimes you got to work weekends, which for me, I like to take the weekends off. So it wasn't fun. It was not fun at all. The next thing is paying rent. Now, I don't think PT should complain about paying rent because, hey, they're giving you a space to run your coaching business out of. So, what choice do you have? However, paying rent, in my opinion, just felt like, I don't know, it just didn't feel good. Like knowing that I had to pay £500, £600, and also depending on where you are in London, it could be £1,000, it could be 1,200. The rent thing is very tough as a PT. Honestly, it's very, very tough. So you have to think about that if that's something you want to do. The next thing is poor clients. You're limited to your demographic. So if you're in a affluent area, then you do well. If you're not in an affluent area, you may struggle. People may not be able to afford the prices that you want to charge. You're only limited to the people in that area. So how can you build a worldwide amazing coaching brand by limiting yourself to the people in your area? It can be a problem. And the thing is, most of us want a PT. We want to change the lives of hundreds of people. You're not going to be able to change the lives of hundreds of people in your local area by just PTing in your local area. So unless you're going to travel around and PT in multiple places, it can be a little bit limiting. It can be a little bit difficult. On top of that, sometimes clients get comfortable around you and they don't take your service seriously and they see it more as a friendship. So those last minute cancellations where they text you 5 minutes beforehand, so on and so forth. I know how annoying that is. And you should know as a coach, well, you probably know as a coach that, yeah, it's annoying. Someone messages you 10 minutes before, hey, I can't make it. You've had a whole session planned out for them. It can really burn you. So unless you put the right things in place in your coaching business to protect you from that, you need to make sure that you have things in place, because that is the most annoying thing. The next thing is there is limited earning potential. And I'm going to kind of marry these two, like limited earning potential and not very scalable, because the reality is that you're going to be trading your time for money and there's only so many hours in a day. All right. So if you're in a gym and you've got 6 sessions all day, okay, cool. The reality is even PTing is stressful and tiring in itself, because you have to keep up your energy. You have to make sure you've got the energy to assist every single client that comes in. You don't want one person to have a good experience while someone else has a bad experience. You need to make sure everybody's getting that A-class service. So to do that consistently for 6, 7, 8 hours is very, very tiring. Most PTs I know don't really PT like 8 hours in a row anyway. So that means they're doing split shifts, which, like I said before, is quite a bit of a con. So it's not very scalable. If you do want to scale this, the only thing you can do is open your own gym, which comes with a bunch of other costs. You've got so many overheads if you open your own gym: water bill, electric, everything, like equipment, maintenance. Is a lot of cost with running your own gym. And the other alternative is, if you're so busy in the gym and you've got so many clients, you could hire other PTs to work under you. But again, if you do hire a PT and they're good, eventually they're going to leave you and they're going to go do their own thing. So you're going to have this revolving door. So the scalability of being a PT is just not great. It's possible, but it's not great, which I'm going to talk to you about an alternative method in a second, but it's not great. And the last thing, for me, this was a big deal. I'm not very good with authority. Anyone that knows me from school times, yeah, I can listen and I can do things, but I don't know. I have something about being told what to do. It just really grinds my gears. And I hated being bossed around by my gym manager. Now, luckily, I had some very, very good gym managers who never bossed me around. But the idea of it just made me feel like, nah, I don't like it. The way I've seen other gym managers treat other PTs as well, it's not for me. And I think the idea of being bossed around by a gym manager just didn't make me feel like I actually had my own gym, or my own business rather, because someone else telling me what to do. So focusing on, so having that became an issue for me. And that's more of a personal thing, but I think for me, that is a very big con to being a PT, is like being bossed around, told where to be, what time, what shift I have to work, those type of things. Especially if you work in a gym like Nuffield or Virgin Health, where you do like a revenue split and you work for the gym. It's not fun. So what's the alternative? Well, be your own boss. Become an online coach. I'm going to tell you why. Out of the 3 options to scale as a PT, online coaching for me is hands down the best. You don't have to own a gym where there's loads of utility cost, water bill, gas bill, maintenance, hiring coaches, blah, blah, blah. Or you don't have to hire coaches. Well, you do at some point, but you don't have to hire a PT to work under you in a gym, because the reality is that at some point they're going to leave. Lead flow might slow down in the gym. You're limited to your local area. So online coaching as a scalable option is easily the best option, in my opinion. You're your own boss and you work your own schedule. For me, that is very, very powerful. I can choose when I want to check in with my clients. I can choose when to do program updates. I can choose when to make their meal plans. I can choose. The next thing is, actually, I've noticed that online coaches tend to get better results than in-person PTs, because they have to pay so much more attention to a client's overall behavior. Think of it like this. I work with a client for 1 hour a day. They've got 23 hours to mess up that 1 hour. We know that a 1 hour gym session only burns so many calories. It only does so much. For a client to get a result, the 23 hours have to be on point. So online coaching enables you to help them create better behaviors and better systems around their 23 hours, rather than beasting them for 1 hour, screaming at them to do burpees and do whatever. Now I can focus on the most important aspect, which is actually their lifestyle. So it's a better lifestyle management tool rather than just, okay, we're friends for an hour, I scream at you for an hour, see you later. So that's why you might notice that a lot of online coaches have so many before and afters on their pages, because they have to focus on getting better results because of the nature of the work. Like I mentioned before, it allows you to work at scale. With online coaching on your own, you could probably handle anything from 40 to 60 clients with the right systems in place. That's a major benefit. I don't have to hire any assistant coaches. I don't have to hire too many people at the start, which is really, really good. Another thing is, when you become an online coach, you really, really get better at marketing and your business skill set. One thing I will say is that the PT qualification services are dropping the ball here, because they teach you how to get qualified, which anyone can do with their eyes closed. But they don't teach you how to grow your coaching business. A lot of coaches have poor business practices. They don't have systems set up in their business. They're just taking cash in hand. They're just doing like the bare minimum old school stuff that we used to do in the 90s. Now we need to focus on building an actual business. And what I notice is that people that do have online coaching businesses really focus on the business aspect, as well as obviously helping their community, helping people in their world and getting results. So I personally feel that when you do decide to become an online coach, you get better results and you become a better business owner. Even if you don't want to stay as an online coach, the skills that you learn becoming one can actually translate to your in-person coaching business, which is a very, very powerful thing. And lastly, it creates a lifestyle business. This kind of business allows you to travel the world, get results for people, but still live the kind of life that you want to live. If you're a parent, you can do the school run without worrying about losing an hour PT from Susie, who you coach around the corner. You can do these things. You can travel with the kids. You can go out with your partner, and your clients are still going to get a result. You still check in with them. You still talk to them, but you can enjoy your life. And at the end of the day, I believe in building lifestyle businesses rather than focusing heavily on just money, money, money. It's about building a lifestyle that you enjoy. And actually, there's money in freedom. All right. So those are the pros and cons of being a personal trainer. And this is the alternative. And if you want to know more about how to build your online coaching business, you should watch this podcast right here.